Okay. So Pablo, how do you plan using this 3 week break to reset the team mentally and physically after these three straight losses?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to digest the film in the last the 3 games and really look at some themes. Right, I think set pieces and defensive transitions have been areas where we've that have cost us some games, and then obviously continue to work on the way we want to attack and get more goals in the back of the net. And so I think those 3 areas are the areas that we'll focus on. Um, and making sure that like we're not looking beyond the training session. In other words, that we're putting all of our energy, our heart, and our soul, and our commitment to the work in that training session, and not looking beyond to a game. We're looking to improve every single day, and so staying present-minded, present-focused will be really important for us as a group.
Right. Um, Talking about tactical adjustment, are there tactical or formation changes that you're exploring during this break at all?
Well, I think the biggest thing from that perspective that we're trying to really tighten and expedite is getting Juan and Victor and Yedlin all on the same page is more important than any tactical thing, because if you don't know who your teammates are, you don't know uh, what what our game model looks like regardless of the formation. It doesn't really matter. So I think these weeks will allow us to really foster those relationships with Juan, Victor, DeAndre, and the rest of the team to get on the same page. And then, as far as any formation change, I think we've always varied with a couple different things, but we really want to just really focus on integrating these guys into the group and take this time to do so.
So historically, this team have responded well after losses. We have evidence of a strong bounce back record. What message are you emphasizing now to regenerate that resilience again?
Yeah, I think the message is every moment matters, right? And I think I say this all the time. There's 5,400 moments in a soccer match, 5,400. You don't know which one's going to cost you the game, and you don't know which one's going to allow you to win the game. And so I think it just goes back to that. And uh, conceding on set pieces is very hard, a hard thing to swallow, because it's the moment, and there's a lot of variables that can go wrong with set pieces. And so you have to be so dialed in for rebounds, deflections. And so again, I think taking these moments that seem very mundane, very harmless, and making them the most important moments that you'll experience. And so, how do we attribute an emotional response to any set piece so that we're prepared for anything, given what we've experienced in those last couple games, right? So, those are things that we'll work on, because again, I think if you're asking me, do I like the way we're playing? Absolutely. The amount of chances we're creating, absolutely. So it's not a structural thing, and it's not a lack of getting opportunities to score goals, right? But in order to score goals, same type of thing. You have to be alert. Is it deflect off someone, and am I in a good spot to finish? So it's like, how do we stay hyper tuned, and so concentration for a full match? Because again, as we get further down the road, every moment means even more and more. Every set piece is more and more. Teams will defend with their lives and attack with their lives, and so we've just got to get to the point where the emotional response we have to a game is heightened in every little moment. Whether it's a defensive throw-in, that seems, oh, it's just a throw-in. No, that throw-in can win you the game, or that throw-in can cost you the game. So that's what we're using this time for. And I think, again, if we train that way, if we apply ourselves that way, then those moments will carry on to Saturday and give us the best chances to bounce back.
Absolutely. So despite still the losses that we have done, you're still in a playoffs race. How are you balancing urgency with patience and long-term recovery and attaining?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. I think anytime you get new players into the mix, it's going to take time, and that's just real life. And so I think I have patience with that part of it. Um, I have patience with, like, okay, we're creating chances, but we're not scoring goals. These guys have to acclimate to the group. What is frustrating for me is the set piece thing, right? Because now it's 2 games in a row where we've been affected, whether it's first phase, second phase, and if you go back 3 games, giving up a PK, which they said wasn't a PK, but we're still So I guess what I'm saying is like the moments that we feel that aren't dangerous to us are costing us games, right? And so it's not a positional thing on set pieces because everyone's standing in the right spot. It's the actions. It's the preparedness. It's the difference between standing in a spot straight up and standing in a spot in a prepared position, ready to deal with a multitude of things, right? So I think that's what's frustrating in these last party games.
Does having players like Diego and Gozo for national duty, does that benefit you or affect you for them to get that experience out there?
It is what it is. I think we have a roster, we have a team for these kind of moments for guys to step in. And I think going back to this last game, not having Willie, Diego, or Gozo didn't allow us to really make a push late in the game, given their absences. So they're really important players, but I feel like we have to be able and be ready. And the players that may not be getting a lot of minutes right now have to be prepared for those moments because those moments could define your careers, right? It could be the moment where someone steps in, scores a couple goals, and now people think of them, they think of themselves differently. So the onus is on us to make sure everyone's prepared for when Diego and Gozo leave camp. And then obviously the experience that they get with the national team is priceless. I think it builds confidence in their game. It validates that the work that they're doing with our club here. And I think it gives the younger guys, the academy players, hopes of, coming through our pipeline that they'll one day end up in the same position that Gozo and Diego are in.
Kind of same question. Having these 3 weeks with no like competition, quote unquote, does that also help you or just
Yeah,
doesn't help you at all?
no. Again, I think our biggest competition all year long has been us against us. Um, when we execute on both sides of the ball, I feel like we're a top team in this league. We haven't been able to do that consistently over the course of the year. And that's us. That's us against us. That's us showing up every game day, knowing that we're going to do all the little things, not the big things, not the tactics, not the compete thing, the throw-in thing, the set piece thing. This is what. And again, I think when we started the year with the third youngest roster in the league, this is a learning curve for these guys to understand what it is going from a certain type of football to the big leagues, where you have experienced guys that will know how to delay, they know how to get an inch, they know how to block a player so that their teammate can go. These are things that we're up against, and so I think, these 3 weeks, it's really about the whole group understanding the importance of being dialed in, and I think whether we play against an opponent or not, it's irrelevant. If we're playing against ourselves, it's going to be harder because if both groups are focusing on those little things, the expectation is that we're going to grow exponentially from that because one team's going to be hyper focused on attacking throws, the other team will be hyper focused on defensive throws, and likewise with the set pieces. So I look at it like a great time to integrate the new players, raise the standard, and make a strong push towards the end of the season.
I want to talk to you about like he's talking about younger players. You have Noel that has been playing the right back. You move him to the defensive midfielder. How are you helping him in that position when he gets back into the midfielder?
Yeah.
Especially you kind of play in that position
Yeah,
in your time.
yeah. And the irony of it all is that he's probably going to play right back next game because Yedlin's suspended. So it's, but I think Noel has done a really good job of understanding the game of football. I think before you get to the tactical part of the game, you have to interpret space and time, and that goes for any position, space and time, right? And he does a really good job of understanding distances defensively and distances offensively, right? And so the other part that Noel has in his game that's really coachable is the way he communicates and helps his teammates. And so I think with video sessions, he's played this position the majority of his career, the central midfield. I think it's a position that he can continue to grow, and the more reps he gets at this level, the better he'll come in time.
That's all I have. Thank you so
Awesome,
much.
Jimmy.
Last one, in his first few training sessions with the team, can you take us through the impact that DeAndre Edmonds had from an experience and leadership perspective?
Yeah, I think Yedlin, DeAndre has been fantastic. Obviously, he's great in the locker room. I think he's got a great understanding of how to be almost change personalities. Where off the field, he's a very sociable, very gregarious kind of person who very intelligent. on the field, he's an absolute competitor and warrior with intelligence. And so I think that ability, you know, when he steps across the line for training, it's serious business, right? But he also knows how to integrate into a group. He's been in a ton of locker rooms at all kinds of levels. And I think this, you know, his personality, his level of experience will be invaluable for our group. I think it's something that our group has needed, and I think he brings the great balance of how to be a great team guy, but also how to be an absolute warrior when you cross the line. Okay. Good. All right, guys. Thank you.